Now, for the top stories around the world, I have with me now to discuss Dr. Marek Laskiewicz. We will touch on the Ukraine-Russia war, the Israel-Gaza war, and of course, the Trump-Elon meltdown. He joins us from London. Good to have you this weekend. In the aftermath of Ukraine having carried out those daring attacks, destroying some of Russia's nuclear bombers, people have been asking how Russia would respond. In your assessment, I mean, what do you make of what Russia has done so far, coupled with the fact that Russia is also accusing Ukraine of postponing, prisoner exchanges?
Yes, actually, the worry was that Russia might really escalate upwards as a result. It has an excuse. Moreover, this excuse was so strong that, please note, President Donald Trump has ceased to really try to threaten Russia or want an immediate ceasefire, and is right now trying to take steps to dilute down the bill for 500% tariffs on anyone caught trading with Russia. So from that point of view, the fact that Russia has not retaliated with anything more than just a slightly bigger onslaught is good news, because this war, please remember, in my books I said would escalate to World War III, which we do not want. It's very good news that it hasn't as a result. However, the interesting aspect is precisely that Russia hasn't done much. She sent a great deal of drones and missiles over, targeting civilian areas, which are not doing much to dent, of course, Ukraine's military capabilities. It's more of the same, so no one was particularly impressed. And in this point of view, it's more interesting whether Russia has or is prepared to use anything else bigger, because otherwise what has happened is Ukraine has stolen an excellent daring coup, which has shown up Russia to be, to some extent, a paper tiger. So unless the paper tiger comes to life as a real one, I'm afraid it's a bad time for Russia in any attempt to try and force through its political demands. As for the negotiations, it's perfectly true what you say, that Russia has accused Ukraine, but then Ukraine has accused Russia. It's the usual stuff of one side accusing the other of bad faith. As usual, presumably, in the end, some sort of prisoner of war exchange, etc., will take place, but it is most unlikely that it will occur in a pleasant way or in a smooth way, but this bickering will continue.
Well, how can the U.S.'s administration or Trump's administration now respond to this in a way that some level of ceasefire can be achieved, besides the fact that you mentioned that, the U.S. has already spoken about the EU and other nations not purchasing oil from, Russia? Plus, with the latest missile attacks by Putin, do you think Ukraine will be more willing to negotiate?
First and foremost, the attacks on Ukraine by Russian missiles are absolutely useless in bringing Ukraine to negotiate or agree to any terms. As I said before, it's just more of the same. It's getting nowhere. It's not even denting the Ukraine's military capacity. And as a result, it's virtually not much of a response. The interesting one is rather America. America's backpedaling from putting pressure on Russia, and also President Trump said he's minded, in effect, to leave Russia and Ukraine to it, and this will give him a free hand to start trading with Russia, which is what is actually on his agenda, as far as I can tell. The problem is that China has started to turn the screws on in the rare earths, starting to tighten up the tap, and this is affecting many industries. A different source of rare earths, especially one which might possibly be on very favorable grounds from Russia, is probably what he has on his mind now. And therefore, this latest attack by Ukraine gives America an out, so she no longer has to force Russia to do anything and can trade with us. As far as I can tell, that's what's in Trump's mind. Very far from his mind now is the notion of forcing Russia to a ceasefire, to do anything at all. I repeat, he's trying to tone down the bill for 500% tariffs, and he's not really responding at all to any European overtures, such as made by the Germans recently, to actually tighten up against Russia.
Let's quickly swing to what is going on in the Israel-Gaza there. Situation seems now very, very complicated, with soldiers killed, bombs in Beirut. When is this going to stop? I know we always like that there is dialogue and they're talking, but Where do we come to a halt in all of this? We also heard in the reports that four Israeli soldiers were killed in some sort of a trap. So where are we headed, Marek?
Well, there are 4 points to make. First of all, as you said, they're talking, which is important. However, as you've also pointed out, the war is continuing. We've been here before. And the other fact that we've been here before is Israel has been in charge of Gaza militarily, and indeed southern Lebanon militarily, and indeed parts of Syria before, and is invariably in the end pulled out. Because what happens is precisely the point you mentioned also, that four soldiers died. In the end, their occupation goes nowhere because it actually is not got any political real agenda behind it, because the goal they seek, the elimination of, for example, Hamas is an idea. Even if they could say everybody in Hamas suddenly says, we're leaving, new people come forth, or it will simply change its name and morph into a different organization. So they won't be the first nor the last empire, because that's what it is. Israel is now ruling Gaza and in effect parts of Lebanon, if it chooses to go in there properly. Have a problem that people simply want some sort of freedom. Therefore, the other aspect is that the aid has started, so it won't be that the Gazans are starved to death or left in a situation like the Jews were in the Warsaw Ghetto, when the Germans basically cut off almost all food to it. Here we have an opportunity for the Gazans to recover from that to that extent. But, and here comes the key point, is what is on the horizon? And the answer is, well, very little actually, because the key points that Israel, Gaza, and the Syrians and so on want are all mutually contradictory, rather like Russia and Ukraine. And therefore, there will be no immediate cease or ceasefire or truce in the sense of it being an end to this war for the immediate future. There may well be a brief ceasefire, that I can envisage. There may well be a lull in the fighting, that is possible, but not what you're saying and what many people like, simply an end to all this.
Now, quickly, let's talk about the Elon Trump situation, because that is a saga that's caught literally everyone's attention, in the world, not just in America. What's your assessment of the Trump and Elon public meltdown? Marek, can we say we didn't see any of these coming between the world's most powerful man versus the world's richest man? The conflict was bound to happen, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. You're presupposing that Elon Musk has an ego as big as Donald Trump's. Elon Musk is a businessman, and businessmen simply aren't that determined or pig-headed, if you prefer, as politicians. So from the point of view of it definitely coming, no, I don't think it was necessarily the case. Rather, what's happened is they do have different visions, and also the tax cutting, which is what Elon Musk has been doing, has had some success, but certainly isn't as drastic or as radical as I think Donald Trump wanted. At the same time, Elon Musk has made the gaffes, for example, giving that salute and so on, or he, of course, which he denies, but that's not the point. The point is that this has cost his business dear, and so he has to go back to business. So insofar as it was a breakup, yes, it was to be expected because Elon Musk has got other work to do. Yes, it was to be expected that he would leave eventually because, after all, Donald Trump is the president. At the end of the day, who is president is the key figure, and that's what counts. But the spat, yeah, I didn't expect that, to be honest. I'm surprised. But if Elon Musk thinks by giving and shouting names at Donald Trump is going to have any effect, he's got another thing coming, because Donald Trump has seen of so much name calling, so much vituperative hatred, so much revenge, that Elon Musk is simply one more in the line and is wasting Elon Musk's time and doesn't do his image very good to even indulge in all this.
Now, on Elon's side, do you think some of the decisions by the Trump administration talk about the trade with China, taxes and Doge, maybe to some people failure, put him up to the realities of the losses he's facing being on Trump's side? And can we say this was an inevitable breakup given their conflict of interest?
Yeah, the conflict of interest is an interesting one, of course, that you mentioned here. Insofar as he was cutting areas which are not of tax cutting areas which not direct relevance to his business, there's no conflict of interest. Insofar as President Donald Trump acted in a way, for example, about China, which may affect Elon's business with the rare earths and so on, Well, the fact of the matter is, Elon Musk was a part of the administration that made those decisions. So from that point of view, it's not as if Elon Musk didn't know what's going to happen. So why is complaining now? I have no idea. Rather, the effect here is that it is simply very difficult to bring things out on the world stage. Donald Trump lacks, I think, in my opinion, advice. And although he has thought his plan through for 4 years, it simply doesn't realize just how complicated the situation is. And therefore, it is harder for him to implement, if possible at all. And tax cutting by Elon Musk was an example of this. The DOG run by Elon Musk simply did not cut far enough. Please remember, America not only has a huge trade deficit, but also an internal deficit. It's losing money, in effect, the American government, in a way it can't cover. And Elon Musk failed in that to actually stop that. So in the end, I expect Donald Trump to carry on as before. The spat with Elon Musk will disappear, and Elon Musk himself will disappear as Donald Trump finds other people to try and implement his plans, which are unlikely to fully succeed, to be honest.
Right. All right, then. There's still been counter accusations, here and there about the Epstein list, but would reserve that conversation. We'll continue with this chat tomorrow. Thank you so much, Dr. Marek, for making out time to join us on The World. Like they say, when the bigger ones fall, they fall really hard.